YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with my NFL Week 14 score predictions, predicting the score to every single game, every single week. Also have straight up picks with the fellas of the Goat House on the channel already. Extra content on our Patreon, patreon.com/thegoathouse. There's playoff predictions, score predictions, different than the ones here. You get junior score predictions on Patreon, and then my updated 2020 NFL mock drafts, updated order prospects, all that, one package deal. You can get plenty more on the Patreon as well. But all that will be updated every single week. Click that link in the description, patreon.com/thegoathouse. 40K, that's your subscriber goal at the end of the NFL season. Please help us get there. We'd really appreciate it. Full NFL and college football content here. Recaps, power rankings, all kinds of different game predictions. Even in the offseason, we got free agency and NFL draft coverage nonstop. So subscribe, click that like button. Check us out on Twitter at GoatHouseNFL. There's a link in the description for that. Week 14, score predictions, a lot of big games, there's a lot of playoff implications within Week 14 here. Playoffs are on the line, seeding is on the line. It starts right here, Week 14. Still got a few weeks left, but there's a lot that's going to change based on this week. This week will tell me a lot going forward, heading into the playoffs. But we'll start with the first game here. Cowboys, Bears, Thursday night football. Both these teams need a win. The Cowboys are trying to win that division. The Eagles are making it a little, maybe a little easier for them than we expected, I guess. But the Cowboys trying to hang on. I mean, if you lose this game, you got a big problem. Because this year, the Cowboys are plain and simple better than the Chicago Bears. Bears struggle for the most part this year, but, they're bouncing back. I know they beat the Giants and they beat the Lions. Kind of close, both games. But all you need is just to get out of the game with the win, get some confidence, some energy, some momentum. That's what the Bears did. So they can really turn around here. I think this is a new challenge, though. They are home on Thursday night. That would be a reason they could win the game. But I got the Cowboys by 7 points here. They're -3 in the game. I got them winning by a touchdown. There's really no reason why they shouldn't win by more than 3. They would have to cover that. I just don't see how they wouldn't be able to take care of business in this game. The games they've been losing, Vikings, Patriots, Bills, and the Bills are looking pretty good. So this is different. It's a little different. I know it's in Soldier, but I think they'll take care of business. I don't think the Bears secondary is quite as good as last year. Still a really good defense. So I think Dak Prescott, not going to have a crazy game, but I think he'll be able to do enough. Which I think that's what I want them to do. I want them to come out passing. I want them to pass to open up the run. Too many teams do the opposite. Some teams can do the opposite. That's just how they are. But the Cowboys should be passing to open up the run game. I think that's the way you beat the Bears here. I think they'll do that. So I got a 7-point game. We'll see what kind of Trubisky we get. It's all on which Mitchell Trubisky we get. I think he's gained some confidence. He made some big time throws late in that game. For the most part, during that game, quarters 1 through 3, maybe a little above the average Mitchell Trubisky this year, a little above it, but then really stepped up, made some clutch throws. So maybe he's got some confidence in him now. But I got the Cowboys winning by 7. Next game is the Panthers and the Falcons. These two teams played each other a few weeks ago. It was an easy win for the Falcons. That was when they were on their 2-game winning streak, and they were looking good, the Falcons, that is. I still got them winning this one, but a little closer. It feels like the Falcons are better away. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but I think they do enough offensively. I do worry about the Panthers' defense with the firing of Ron Rivera. A lot of times, coaches are fired, and it seems like the next game the team wins because they got a lot of energy from that. They got something to prove because their coach just got fired. But that's usually the situations where it's an obvious firing or it seems like the players kind of wanted the guy gone. This isn't that case to me. This was a surprising fire. I thought it would, maybe would happen in the offseason. If it happened in the offseason, I wouldn't be shocked. I was pretty shocked by this here in Week 14. So I think that could affect them here. Panthers defense from the beginning of the season till now, it's really going downhill. I don't think the firing will help them. They got to take care of the ball. Kyle Allen's got to limit the turnovers. But I got the Falcons doing enough here. The Falcons are a lot better than their record. A lot better. Even that last Saints game, they started off pretty poorly. A lot of mistakes in that game, and they were still in the game down the stretch. So that shows that they're, just start off a little better, limit the mistakes, the fluky mistakes, and hey, then they can win those games. So I think they win this one. The Panthers are +2.5. It's probably one I wouldn't touch just because I guess a new coach in there. A lot of things can change. It could create some weird moments within this game, I believe. The Ravens and the Bills, one of the games of the week, maybe the game of the week. I got a 27-23 victory for the Ravens. I'm all on board with the Bills. I'm on board with the Bills. They're very impressive. Mainly why they're impressive is the improvement from earlier till now. The very well-balanced team. Really no holes on that team, in my opinion. But the Ravens, to me, are the best team in football, hands down. It's the team I'm most impressed with in the league. Both sides of the ball. Love them on both sides of the ball as well. Lamar will be a new challenge for this Buffalo Bills defense. A very good defense. It's a new challenge. I think this will help them going forward. It's a good thing that they're playing the Ravens right now. They definitely have a chance because they're home. That crowd's going to be nuts, especially in a game like this. The Bills are looking good, so that's a reason the crowd would be, on their side right now as well. So they could definitely win the game. Josh Allen has got to take care of the ball, which he has been doing. And, they got to find a way to stop Lamar Jackson. They got to make the reads. I just don't think they can do enough yet to stop them and to keep up with them. But 27-23 is my final. Ravens are minus 5.5. It's a pretty close call there. But it should be a good game. If the Bills win this game, boy, oh boy. I don't know. We're going to be talking about the Bills' top 3 probably easily in the power rankings for me at least. So should be an interesting one. We got the Bengals and the Browns, and this score prediction is with Baker Mayfield. There's reports that because he hasn't practiced yet, he may not play. So I'd say there is a chance he doesn't play. He seems to be very confident he is playing. So I'm going to go with the Browns. Scoreline with Baker Mayfield, 26-17. Another one that's kind of tough to predict. If Baker's playing, and I guess we don't really know how healthy he is. Like, is he 100%? How close he is to 100%? So that makes it tough. At the same time, the Bengals defense has actually been playing a lot better, even the games they were losing recently, the last few weeks, I should say. The defense has been picking it up. If they get a good pass rush, they can win the game, even if Baker Mayfield's in there. Andy Dalton played a real good game, first game back. Was that just a thing because it was his first game back? He was ticked off. Is that going to keep going? Is he still pissed off? There's a lot of question marks in this game. But the Browns have more talent. They're the better team. I'm thinking Baker Mayfield plays. They're home. It's a must-win. They have to win out to, if they win out, they have a decent shot. They have to win all these games because they do have to play the Ravens still. So they're going to go in there. They're going to, play calling's going to be better. But they're going to go out there, go all out, 26-17. I got the Browns winning 8.5. Maybe is a bit much. Definitely monitor if Mayfield is playing or not. The line will change, obviously, if he's not. If he's not playing, I'm gonna take the Bengals. I don't know about Gilbert being the backup. I would take the Bengals in a tight one there. So we'll have to monitor. Something we'll see. Redskins and Packers. The Packers are minus 13 in this one. Redskins getting 13 points. I got the Packers winning by 11, so not quite there, but still a tough one, just under 2 touchdowns. If that was sitting right on 2 touchdown favorite, then possibly. But the Packers are the much, much better team. It is a little scary, maybe a little scary, because the Redskins have been playing better, number one. The running back duo looks great. It looks like a damn good running back duo. The Packers here and there over the second half of the season have struggled to stop the run. Not always, just sometimes here and there. And then number 3, the Packers offense has struggled against any above-average defenses they've played in the second half of the season, mainly looking at the Chargers and then a way above-average 49ers defense. The Redskins defense is better than people think. It's better than they think. They've been playing pretty good. I just don't think it's on the level of these other teams, and I also don't think they have the offense to keep up with the Packers. I think the Packers got to come out throwing the ball downfield. That's how you beat the Redskins defense. It's a pretty good defense because of the front 7. Throw the ball downfield. Landon Collins is great in the box. Not so great downfield, I'd say. He's a solid player, but I think you could beat these corners. Some young guys are stepping up, but I think the Packers got to come out this game throwing the ball downfield. Get Aaron Jones involved. Both the run game, the passing game should be a win. But yeah, a big reason too. I even though the Packers defense is maybe not quite the same as it was earlier, I still love the pass rush. Love the Smith boys. I think they'll cause a ruckus back there, and that could be the reason the Redskins only score around 16 points. But the Packers, I need to see. Even though it looks like a simple game, I need to see some movement from the offense here. Consistency too. It seems like even the games, they have inconsistent drives, I guess. That they'll push the ball to a certain point and then they, just can't put it in the end. It kind of showed up against the Giants a little bit here and there. It took some turnovers for them to actually put the ball in the end zones sometimes. They did have their big plays in the end zone, but I want to see them work the field and continue to work the field all the way until the end zone. That's why I want to see more of the Packers. Next game, another NFC North team that is favored by 13. They're going up against another NFC North team. I got the Vikings winning 34-20. The Vikings are an offensive team now. It's very weird, very, very weird, but that's the truth. They're an offensive team. Kirk Cousins is playing great. You could argue he's the best player on the Vikings. You really can at this point, and that's ridiculous, but it's facts. I mean, obviously the obvious choice would be Dalvin Cook or Stephon Diggs based on this year. I know Thielen missed some time. But, I mean, if you take Kirk Cousins away from this team's got nothing. They're coming back on teams. They're an offensive team. The defense, I can't believe how bad it is right now. It's bad right now. So, even the Lions with their, back third-string quarterback, not a lot of energy and momentum anymore. I still think they can score around 20 points. I think that's a good amount for them, but going against the Vikings. But the Vikings offense, no reason they shouldn't be able to do this. Even if Dalvin Cook sits out, he's saying he's playing, but Zimmer's going on and saying that he's not going to play a hurt player. I don't think he plays. If I had to put money on it right here, is it Wednesday? It's Wednesday the 4th. I don't think he'll play. That's just how the Vikings are. They're going to think they're going to win this game without him. I don't like that attitude that they have sometimes, but at the same time, I think Alexander Mattison will be just fine. I love the way the rookie's running the ball. So I think, look out for him to have a big game, kind of monitor, maybe for fantasy, kind of monitor Dalvin Cook. I think Madison could be a big, big play. The Lions have a tackling issue. There's not a lot of gang tackles, too, so they kind of rely on one guy who's the first guy to make contact, and then that guy can't really bring him down, usually in the running game, to be specific, unless he gets some help, and there hasn't been as much help. The defense looked pretty good early season. It's been pretty poor, and Kirk Cousins already tore up this defense, so I don't see why the Vikings can't do it again, no matter the running back here. We'll see if Thielen's back. I can see them sitting him out again. But either way, I like the Vikings this one. Got them winning by 14. They're minus 13, I should say. So it's a lot of points. Tough to, especially the Vikings. It's always tough to bet on the Vikings when they're minus that many points, it seems like. The Niners and the Saints. I do have the Niners winning 23-20. I'm playing the matchup game here. I like the matchup game for the Niners. I like the matchup for them. Why? The Saints, they're a legit contender, maybe an elite contender. I like this team a lot. They've had the last few weeks, maybe sometimes they're, one week they look like they're elite on offense again, and 1 week they're a little sloppy. Breeze can't make the huge plays, not maybe as many as he's had in the past. They can't really get Kamara going, even though maybe he'll have a good average. They can't really, get him going on the big plays, the crucial moments, or they can't really get him the ball enough, And then there's been moments where the defense looks elite some weeks, and there's some weeks where they're giving up some big plays, and they're kind of relying on making that turnover. So that's kind of been the Saints over the last few weeks. I know they played the Falcons twice. I think there's something with that matchup against the Falcons that could cause that view I have on the Saints right now. But the Saints are a very good team. But going against a team that has, I think, the best defense in football and a sneaky offense. An offense that can run to open up the pass. I think that could be the Saints' weakness here, but mainly being the Niners' defense. That's why I have it somewhat low scoring here, 23-20. I think their pass rush, forces Breeze to get rid of the ball quick, a good secondary, a lockdown secondary. I don't think they're going to get turnovers really, but I just don't see the Saints pushing the field a lot. It's going to take some big plays. So I like the Niners in that one. The reason the Saints would win this game, for me, in my opinion, is if Garoppolo just plays a pretty bad game, which Saints defense definitely can cause that. So it's possible, very possible there that could happen. I like the Niners, though. I think their defense, the Saints, we haven't seen it yet. There's really no proof yet because these two teams haven't really played each other. But I think that defense, that Niners defense, is what the Saints don't want to see. It's what they want to avoid. I think this could be a similar matchup for the Niners to maybe like the Packers game. I think the Saints are better than the Packers, but we're flipping where the game's at too. Obviously, the Niners are away. That could be a difference, but I just like that defense against the Saints offense. Should be a good one though. Next game is the Dolphins and the Jets. The Jets have been really, really bad away. They've been pretty solid at home. I like the Jets at home here. I think they get the revenge. The Dolphins beat them the last time. I think mainly a defensive game. The Dolphins had so much offense last week. I don't think we get that 2 weeks in a row. The Jets, they got a pretty solid defense. You got a good, safety duo. You have playmakers all across the D-line, the whole rotation. I think those guys make big plays in this game, and that's really the difference. 20-17, close game. The Dolphins are. I was surprised it was 5.5. Because the Dolphins won last game, I figured the Jets would be favored, but I figured it would be right around 3. When I predicted the score, right where I predicted the score. So 5.5 seems a lot, but it is right under that 6-7 range. So it's kind of tough. But I think a close game. But the Jets should have it at home. Different team at home. Definitely a different team at home. And the Dolphins, people have said in the past, they have one of the better home field advantages actually. The way that stadium is, the sun just beams on the away sidelines. So now they're away playing a team that is pretty good at home. That really could be the difference in this game, but it could go either way. The Colts and the Bucs. I was surprised the Colts were getting points here. 2.5 underdogs, 2.5 point favorite, or 2.5 point underdogs. The Buccaneers are 2.5 point favorites in this game. Buccaneers have been, I guess that would be the reason. The Buccaneers have been starting to get hot. The Colts have started to get cold. So that would be the reason. I think the Colts are the better team. The Bucs are one of those teams that, they might be better than their record shows. They're pretty good. Their defense is getting better. Winston's getting better. But it's one of those teams that really, really struggled to stay consistent, go on winning streaks this year. So I think this is kind of where it gets stopped a little bit. I think Winston could have those turnovers in the Colts they need to capitalize on those turnovers, but I think they will. The Colts have been struggling to punch the ball in the end zone, not a whole bunch of creativity, not the best play calling, honestly, recently, the last 2 games, I should say, and not enough firepower, big play ability. I think even though the Bucs defense is getting a lot better, I think they have the Colts will have the ability. I think they can do this against the Bucs defense. It's not like playing the Titans defense. Turns out the Texans defense is pretty darn good. So it's a little different. Even though the Bucs defense is getting a lot better, love what I'm seeing from those young corners. Love what I'm seeing from Devin White. The pass rush is good. The Colts never lose because they're playing an elite pass rush. Not that I'm trying to say the Bucs is elite or not. It's pretty damn good, but that's not my point. The Colts will never – the reason they lose won't be because of a crazy pass rush. So their offensive line will lock that down. Even if there's some pressure, it won't be the reason. The reason would be they just can't keep up scoring with the Bucs. There's not enough big play, firepower, ability on offense. I think their defense mainly gets it done here. I think their defense could put their offense in good situations to score. They have to score, though. They were getting some of those gifts against the Titans. They couldn't do it. They couldn't capitalize, and they were missing field goals. So I think they take care of business in this one. Winston been liking the way he's been throwing the ball. I think he can throw the ball well in this game, but I'm thinking a turnover or two that could cost them. 3-point win for the Colts. Next game is the Broncos-Texans, 13-24. So I guess somewhat of a defensive game. The Texans, 24 points is a good amount, playing a solid defense. Really depends on what Deshaun Watson steps up, or shows up, I should say. 1 week we had elite, possible MVP Deshaun Watson, and 1 week where it's a little sloppy, honestly. It's a little sloppy. Sometimes he's throwing the ball to the wrong team. Sometimes he's a little fortunate they don't come away with a turnover. So it depends on – I don't really think it's the defense. That's why it's so tough to predict what Watson's going to show up, what Texans offense is going to show up. I don't think a really good defense forces that. It's honestly like kind of what he's feeling on the day, or what the offensive line, what their situation is. But I really like this Texans defense. It's really, really stepping up. And I do like their offense a lot, too. They got Will Fuller back. He's dangerous, very dangerous, stretches the field, helps the other receivers out a lot. And I guess it helps we know it helps Watson in the passing game, but it can help him gain more room to run. So it makes the team that much better. Even if he drops touchdown passes or big plays. So that tends to happen sometimes, but he's a threat, and it makes the team better. I like them winning by 11 points here. I like Drew Lock. I liked him in the pre-draft process. Liked him against Chargers last week. Him and Cortland Sutton. Going to be a good duo there. And I like the talent they have on this team. I think they're more talented than the record shows. That's for sure. I don't like the matchup for them here in Houston, though. I got Houston winning by 11. 9-point favorite, though. It's a close call there. But the Texans should win that game. They should. We thought the Chargers should beat the Broncos last week, though, too. So who knows? And there's the Chargers. I got the Chargers beating the Jags 24-16. I see a lot of people I've noticed picking the Jags in this game. And they could win. I'm not going to guarantee anything here, but especially with a game like this, especially the way the Chargers have been losing this year. But everything points towards the Chargers for me. It just does. I know they're away, but they're the more talented team. They're the better team. But you look at the matchup. The Jags have been struggling on defense a lot, mainly down the middle of the field. And once the ball gets, past the line of scrimmage, tackling efforts, angles, a little poor. I think the perfect situation is the Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler. I think that's the perfect duo for them. The great mixture of two hard runners, different styles though, and then Eckler being maybe the best pass catching back in the NFL, or after McCaffrey, I should say. I think that is the ultimate mismatch for this Jags defense, the way they are playing right now. They do get Minshew back. The Chargers defense is getting better and better. It's even if they're losing games, it's been pretty darn good. So maybe a little more energy on the offensive side with Minshew back, but I just don't think enough push here. And I don't know if the Minshew's energy really changed the defense. The energy's been really down. It looks like guys are giving a little effort. I think they need a new staff in there to kind of revive that. I like the matchup for the Chargers. I like them defensively against the Jags. Love the way they match up, and I think their offense matches up very, very well. I think both running backs should have a day if the Chargers do it right. We've seen them do it wrong with these two backs multiple times throughout the year, so it's kind of a deciding factor of my thoughts on whether the what should happen with the coaching staff. Thin ice right now for me, because it's a very talented team that's losing in tough ways. And they got to get Mike Williams going on the big plays early, too. They kind of wait till the end to do that, and he makes the big plays. But I think using the running backs right could really open that up, or the opposite. You can do it either way. If you get the ball downfield to your star receivers, it can really get the running backs going. I'm very confident in the Chargers. I'm risking a lot saying that there. I can look like an absolute idiot, but if they lose, to me, it's a choke. It's a choke if they lose this game. I love the matchup for them. I got them winning 24-16 while -3. I kind of like that one. I liked them against the Broncos last week, but this Jaguars team's much more of a mess than the Broncos are, or the Chargers look like a mess. I think they're more messy than them. The Titans and the Raiders. Actually, this is a sneaky one. The Raiders could be sneaky in this game. I got the Titans winning 27-21. I love the Titans right now. Both sides of the ball, they're getting better and better. We've seen them. That season changer was that Chiefs game. How hyped they were. They're hyped for the rest of the season because of that. They're getting better. Tannehill's getting better. I can't believe the difference. I'm stunned by the difference from Mariota to Tannehill. Did not expect that, honestly. But it's working. The coaching was a little messy, I thought, early in the year. Decision-making, that's gotten better too. And the Raiders are ice cold. Titans are one of the hotter teams in football. I think you got to go Ravens. But after that, not based on your record, just lately, it's got to be the Titans. And one of the colder teams the last few weeks has got to be the Raiders. So I do think the Titans are the better team on top of it. So I have to go with the Titans. But the Raiders are pretty darn good at home, and the Titans struggle historically when going out West Coast. So that could be the reason the Raiders can win. I don't think there's a whole bunch of logic behind that, picking a team because they're home and because the other team historically, again, in the past struggled away. But sometimes those things happen. But the Titans are better. They're rolling. I got to go with the Titans here, 27-21. I think they match up well, too, because I think the only thing that the Titans is stopping the Titans is kind of themselves. I guess play calling or not being able to push the ball, because I can see that coming up at times, but I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be able to push the ball against the Raiders. I like their defense, even though they might be thin at corner right now. Still like their defense. You got guys getting better. Harold Landry, love that draft pick. He was my number 9 player in the draft. I got him in the second round. He's been out of his mind recently. I like this Titans team. They've been drafting well. They're looking pretty good. I'm going to go with them. Next game is the Chiefs and the Patriots. I went with the Chiefs, and this might be the toughest game to pick of the year. The Patriots always been the most dominant team at home, and we rarely really ever see them lose 2 games in a row. So those are reasons to pick the Patriots. Not the most logical reasons, I guess, but that's why it's so tough to pick against them. I know the matchup favors the Chiefs. I really think so, because how are the Patriots going to keep up scoring with the Chiefs? The Chiefs, they're familiar with the Patriots. They played this defense. I don't see, even if they didn't, the Chiefs are a team that they're gonna score. They're gonna figure out a way to get the ball in the end zone. They're gonna score. I'm thinking a lot of field goals. I think the Patriots red zone defense can step up, but I think a lot of yards from the Chiefs offense, which will work the clock, get them the time of the possession, and get points up on the board. Having one of the better kickers in the league could help them here. But yeah, the lack of the running game is really the only thing that scares me for the Chiefs. But I don't know. I really don't think the Patriots keep up scoring, even though it's a close game. Patriots should get a little more offense going than they have been because they're home, and the Chiefs defense isn't the best, but they've been playing pretty good. They've been playing pretty good. It's definitely better than the last time these two teams saw each other. They're really figuring out blitz packages, when to blitz mainly. Frank Clark's getting going. Chris Jones is really getting going. Guys like Juan Thornhill stepping up. I mean, you got guys rotating in, stepping up. It's a young defense. It's getting better. It's a way different defense than it was last year, even if the same players are in there for the most part, even though they're really not most of the time. I like the Chiefs in this one. I like the Chiefs. Can the Patriots keep up? There's a lot of blame to go around. I'm not going to panic for the Patriots by any means right now, but there's some blame to go around for what's been going on. And, it's Brady. Yeah, the receiver's got to get some more separation, but Brady's been missing some throws he normally doesn't make. Looks like he's a little more afraid. I don't know afraid, but he doesn't want to take the chance to fit some tight window throws in. When you got guys like N'Keal Harry, that's why they were a first-round player. That's why they were a top receiver. Contested catch and run after catch ability, that's him. Go get him the ball. They kind of gave up on him too early last game. I don't know if he's still not 100% maybe. In the play calling, I don't like the pass and 4th and a centimeter, plays like that. Just doesn't seem like it used to be. The offensive line definitely doesn't seem like that's where I guess most of the blame could go, the offensive line. But they'll be fine once it gets to the playoffs. But in this game, this matchup right here in the regular season, I like the Chiefs. It is tough to go against Patriots at home, though. Steelers and Cardinals. Again, another one of those sneaky ones. Cardinals could be a sneaky team here and win it. Minus last week against the Rams, they've actually played pretty good games in losses. They were close against the Niners a couple times. Kyler Murray looked really good in some losses. They were close. They had chances, looking at the Bucs game too. So they can sneak up and win this game. Looking at the matchup, Kyler Murray was kind of playing hurt last week, so I don't know how that will be. That's why he was really off, so that could be the case again. Maybe he could be healthier. But the Steelers' front seven, their defense in general, but their front seven specifically will cause problems for Kyler Murray, won't allow them to play their game to win, which is score a lot of points. And then offensive with the Steelers, that's kind of how they lose games sometimes. They can't keep up scoring with the other team, but going against this team, this defense, I think it's a defense you can score on enough. 20 points on a whole bunch, but I think it's enough. I like the matchup for the Steelers. Mike Tomlin's got that defense playing very well and winning them games. They should get some guys healthy, some injured guys back this week, which they've been missing, and that kind of makes their run a little more impressive than it already is. So I like the Steelers in that one. Minus 2.5. It's under 3, so I guess that's interesting, but it could be a trap game. That definitely could be a trap game. Cardinals could be sneaky here. Next game is the Seahawks and Rams, and I know I haven't upset people that saw the straight-up picks, already knew this was coming. So you can relax a little bit. I'm not going to pick every single favorite every single week. I got to go bold a little bit. I know this is bold, but I'm not going to pick the Rams if I don't think it's realistic. I think it's very realistic. I think they can win this game. Another thing people were overreacting from the straight up picks video is I made a comment that I think the Rams can do a pretty good job against the run. I think, for the most part, except for the playing Lamar Jackson, which is understandable. Besides that game, they've done a good job. People took it, I think it's Seahawks fans, took it as I think the Rams are going to just shut down the Seahawks run offense. Not the case. Got them scoring 24 points. I think they're just going to slow them down. They're not going to have a ridiculous game like they did against the Vikings. Vikings defense is going way south, by the way, too, but it was very, very impressed by the Seahawks run game. When it's all said and done, I think after the Ravens are the best in football, in my opinion. But I think the Rams could make that extra stop, slow them down enough. People take it the wrong way. At the same time, I think their offense really could pick it up. Now, it's one thing, you look at last game, if you just look at the stats, Goff played out of his mind. He played great, and you're thinking, if I'm saying the Rams are going to pick it up offensively because they did last game, you're probably thinking I expect Goff to be like that, play like that. I'm not really thinking Goff. Yeah, it'd be great if he can play like that, take care of the ball. But what I think it was the play calling. It was McVay. Let me just get down to business. I think it was McVay. I haven't been a fan of the play calling and play designs this year. I loved it in that game, and that really doesn't matter who the defense is that you're playing in like those crucial situations. Whether it's third and long, third and short, look like a whole different team. It's crunch time now. They got to get going. They have to win. They have no choice, and the play calling will be on point. I think you can throw the ball in the Seahawks secondary. It's a good defense. Good defense. It's not one of the better defenses in football to me. It's a good defense, though. Don't get me wrong. I think the Rams can move the ball. And kind of before the season, I went down and predicted every game before the season started and kind of looking at what – I'm not using the same picks, but kind of going back and look at the differences from what I've picked in season from off, before the season. My division predictions preseason have actually been better than in season. So, in my original pick was these two teams to split and take home games. I like the Rams home here. Sunday Night Football. I think that could be the difference. I think Jalen Ramsey has a big game. Don't think he's going to just take the ball from Russell Wilson or anything. I think that could be the difference. Has a big game. They got to get their pass rush going. I like the Rams winning this one. I like them winning this one. I think they get they get it. They do enough on defense. Obviously, defense ain't going to play great, but they get it done mainly in the air on offense. But should be an interesting one. I'm thinking 24-24 and then a last-second field goal there for Zerline. So we'll see if that actually happens, getting specific. And the last game is the Giants and the Eagles. Maybe closer than people think. Not one I would touch, though, because the Giants are cold and they can lose by pretty much any amount of points. They could really win this game because the Eagles are really, really struggling. They lost to the Dolphins. Could they possibly lose to the Dolphins and the Giants? It sounds like Eli Manning's playing. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe less big playability downfield, but this guy, one last show, one last chance against the Eagles, the team he's been playing for a long time, 2 times a year, one last go at it as a starter on the New York Giants. I think he could be out to prove something, ready to play. Maybe he's a little pissed off, so I think he can actually have a pretty good game, but obviously not enough. I think the Eagles' offense gets going. I keep thinking, well, they kind of did last week. Some mistakes still, but they got going. I just don't think the Giants can keep up with them, and I don't think they have that big playability on defense. They had made big plays this year, but some teams have been kind of turning over the Eagles. I don't know if they can quite do it in this one. I like the Eagles. It's an absolute must win for the Eagles. I got them winning 27-23 on Monday night. Back every single week with these score predictions. Junior has his score predictions already up on the Patreon. Playoff predictions are already up on there as well. Both those are updated every single week. The mock draft will be coming at some point this week still, updated every single week with updated order. It's already mock draft season for some people. It's already NFL draft season for a lot of fan bases, I guess. So check that out. More info within that link in the description, patreon.com/togoDallas. But we're trying to get to that 40K subscriber goal, so please help us get there by subscribing. Full NFL content here, not just in season, even in the off season. But yeah, please subscribe. Click that like button. Thank you for watching this video. That's going to do it. Goodbye.